Did you know one Canadian city's murder rate surged 134% in 5 years, while in another, homes cost 22 times the average salary? These troubling realities rarely make those glossy best places to live features. What's really happening behind Canada's picture-perfect reputation? Today we're counting down the 10 Canadian cities concealing serious problems beneath those scenic landscapes and friendly reputations. If you're considering a move to Canada, you might want to watch this entire video, especially when we reveal what's happening in city number 1. The healthcare myth, wait times, doctor shortages, and system collapse. You've seen those heartwarming stories about Canada's universal healthcare system, right? Americans dreaming about moving north for that sweet free healthcare. Well, I've got some news that might change your mind. The glossy brochures don't tell the full story of what's happening in cities across Canada. Let's start with Halifax, where the healthcare situation has reached critical levels. Nearly 130,000 people, that's almost a third of the population, don't have access to a family physician. Imagine moving your entire family to a new country only to discover you can't even get basic preventative care. One Halifax resident I spoke with told me she had been on a waiting list for a family doctor for over 3 years. "I've given up hope," she said. "I just go to walk-in clinics and hope they don't close before I get in." The emergency rooms have become the default medical care for thousands of residents. At the QEII Health Sciences Center, the average wait time has ballooned to over 12 hours for non-critical cases, like being trapped in pain with nowhere to turn. I witnessed elderly patients sleeping in waiting room chairs and young parents trying to comfort sick children for entire days. Traveling west to Quebec City reveals equally troubling conditions, with specialist wait times among the longest in any developed nation. Need a knee replacement? You might be waiting up to 2 years compared to 3 to 4 months in countries like Germany or Japan. Need to see a dermatologist about that concerning mole? That'll be 18 months of anxiety while you wait. Mohammed, an immigrant from Nigeria who moved to Quebec City 3 years ago, exemplifies the system's failure. In Nigeria, if you had money, you could get an MRI scan within days. Here in Canada, with my universal healthcare, I waited 8 months. By then, my condition had worsened significantly. This crisis has fueled a boom in medical tourism among Canadians themselves. Susan, a retired teacher from Halifax, spent her savings flying to Mexico for hip replacement surgery. "I was in constant pain, and they told me the wait would be at least 18 more months. What choice did I have?" What's concerning is the silence about this crisis in immigration materials. Canada actively recruits skilled immigrants yet fails to mention they might not access healthcare when needed. The system is collapsing under years of underinvestment relative to population growth and an aging population with complex needs. In Vancouver, our third troubled city, ambulances often wait hours to offload patients because emergency departments are over capacity. One paramedic told me they've had to treat patients in ambulance bays because there was literally nowhere to put them inside the hospital. The winter survival myth, homelessness, energy poverty, and isolation. When winter descends on Canadian cities like Winnipeg and Regina, it isn't just a change of season, it's a battle against nature that transforms into a 5-month survival test nobody warns immigrants about before they arrive. At -40 degrees Celsius with wind chill, exposed skin freezes in minutes, creating life-threatening conditions that tourism brochures conveniently omit. Winnipeg, our 7th most dangerous city, becomes a frozen battleground every winter. The shelters fill beyond capacity when temperatures plummet. At Main Street Project, one of the city's largest shelters, staff regularly turn away 50 to 60 people nightly during cold snaps. "We're making impossible choices every night about who gets a bed and who doesn't," explained Maria, a shelter coordinator I interviewed last February. Those turned away face grim options, huddling in bank vestibules or walking all night to avoid freezing. In January 2022 alone, Winnipeg recorded 7 freezing deaths, people found frozen in alleys, parks, and abandoned buildings. Indigenous populations bear the brunt of this crisis. Despite making up just 12% of Winnipeg's population, they represent over 70% of the city's homeless. Historical trauma and systemic discrimination create housing insecurity with lethal consequences during Manitoba's brutal winters. While Winnipeg's danger is immediate physical threat, Regina, our fifth most dangerous city, presents an equally insidious winter peril: financial devastation through energy poverty. The Al-Zubaydi family, who arrived from Syria in 2018, were blindsided by their first winter heating bills. In December, our bill was $487. January was $512. We had to choose between heat and food some weeks, Hamid Al-Zubaydi told me, showing me their budget where heating consumed 38% of monthly income. Nobody explained this would happen. In immigration brochures, winter looked beautiful, children playing in snow. They don't show you the bills. This energy poverty cascades into health problems as families endure cold, damp conditions. Children develop respiratory issues. Pipes freeze. Unpaid utility bills lead to service disconnections, potentially fatal during -30 degrees Celsius cold snaps. The psychological impact is equally severe. Seasonal depression hits newcomers especially hard when daylight dwindles to barely 8 hours by December. Dr. Anita Chakraborty explained, many newcomers experience winter shock. When darkness falls at 4:30 p.m. and temperatures make outdoor activities impossible for months, I've seen patients who didn't leave their apartments for weeks. Transportation challenges complete this winter prison. Car batteries die. Buses run late during storms. For elderly immigrants or those with mobility issues, winter effectively confines them to their homes for months, isolated behind walls of ice and snow. The housing dream: unaffordability, exploitation, and hidden homelessness. Those winter-trapped immigrants eventually have to emerge from hibernation, and many return to homes that are barely safer than the freezing streets. The housing situation that awaits newcomers in Canada's major cities isn't just unaffordable, it's become downright dangerous in ways that immigration brochures conveniently forget to mention. In Vancouver, our number 3 most dangerous city, the crisis manifests through a housing market so extreme that the average home costs a staggering 19 times the average annual income. This insanity has spawned what locals call ghost hotels and illegal microsuites. I toured one building in East Vancouver where a landlord had converted a single-family home into 14 separate rental units, some literally closets with beds shoved inside. The fire inspector described it as a death trap with no proper exits, exposed wiring, and ventilation so poor that mold covered entire walls. Moving east to Toronto, our number 2 most dangerous city, the threat takes a different form. Rental scams targeting immigrants have exploded with a 160% increase in reported cases over just 3 years. The police fraud unit showed me a file where a single fake listing near Yonge Street collected $2,000 deposits from 23 different immigrant families, $46,000 stolen in one scam. I lost everything I brought with me, said Raj Patel, who arrived from India last year. My family paid 3 months' rent up front for what we thought was a nice 2-bedroom. When we showed up with our suitcases, the address didn't even exist. This devastating blow left his family starting their new Canadian life in crisis. For those who avoid scams, reality often means cramped rooming houses. In Thorncliffe Park, I visited a 3-bedroom apartment housing 13 people where 4 families shared one bathroom and kitchen, with makeshift curtains separating sleeping areas. Each person paid $800 monthly for a fraction of a room. Montreal ranks number 4, characterized by some of North America's oldest housing stock. Nearly 60% of rental units were built before 1970, many in dangerous disrepair. As housing advocate Marie Belenze explained, landlords target immigrants because they often don't know their rights. One building in St. Henri had such severe water damage that mushrooms were growing from the bathroom ceiling. The tenants, all recent arrivals from North Africa, had been complaining for months. These housing dangers compound other struggles. When families spend 50 to 70% of income on unsafe housing, they can't afford proper nutrition or health care. Children study in overcrowded, poorly ventilated rooms. Work performance suffers from constant stress. But there's an even darker connection to our number one most dangerous Canadian city. Neighborhoods with the highest housing insecurity show frightening spikes in both property crime and drug activity, transforming once safe communities beyond recognition. So there you have it. Canada offers amazing opportunities, but also comes with serious challenges that immigration pamphlets conveniently omit. The healthcare crisis, brutal winters, housing nightmares, and other issues I've shown you today represent the reality many newcomers wish they'd known before packing their bags. Making an informed decision means understanding both sides. Canada is like a beautiful mountain, breathtaking from a distance but requiring proper gear once you're there. If you're still set on Canada, awesome. Just go in with your eyes open. Want to see what other countries are really like behind the brochures? Hit that subscribe button. This is Postcard Views, where we show you what places are actually like, not just what they want you to see. Thanks for sticking till the end and see you on the next one.